right. Google is always looking for ways to improve its software, and the latest update is to Google Calendar. So you may have seen this little pop up down here over the last couple weeks. They're trying to slowly transition everybody over to the new calendar setup. Eventually, it will be a mandatory switch. It will just switch itself over. So I thought I'd make a little video to sort of guide you through the process of the new calendar and what it has to offer. So maybe you have this pop-up. You can go ahead and dismiss it, or if you'd like to check out the new calendar, hit upgrade now. At any point, you can also find this button in the top right. It's blue, it's got white font, it says use new calendar. So either of those buttons will transition us over to the new calendar. So I'm going to go ahead and click upgrade now, and suddenly it has changed the look of the calendar. Alright, everything is bigger and fills up the screen a lot more. And you get this handy dandy pop-up window here that says a fresh look for calendar. Our updated design makes it easier for you to manage your time. So you can click on this and it'll walk you through a nice little tutorial, or you could go down here and start customizing it, or you could go down here and click got it. But let's go ahead and just do the tour together. So let's learn more about the new design. So that takes us over to a new page. The new page, like everything with Google, they try to provide as much documentation and explanation of what's going on as possible. Even if they don't communicate to you that these changes are really happening, they do have the information there if you are willing to go find it. So what's new in Google Calendar? All right. You can see the details of events a lot easier without having to go into the edit mode. Essentially the pop-ups for your calendar events are going to provide you with a lot more information, which is pretty cool. Additionally, those same pop-ups are going to give you more options, so you can build calendar events a lot faster than you could before. If you wanted a very detailed or even a slightly detailed calendar event, you always ended up having to go into edit event to get all those details. So they've added a lot more functionality to the quick create tool. So down here there's new view options. They also added hotkeys so that you can toggle between the different calendar views, which is pretty cool. So you can hit D for day and W for week and go back and forth between the two. It's pretty neat. A stands for agenda, which will take you to the list view, which is another popular way to look at your calendar. But you can also now see only the weekends. You could see events that you declined, in case maybe you declined on accident, or you just want to make sure that the events that you declined were in fact ones that you meant to decline. It's pretty neat. They've also color-coded your invitation status, so if you're attending the event, it'll be a solid color. If you gave a maybe, it will be diagonal slashes across it. And if you haven't replied yet, you're just going to see an outline of the event. And if you say no, it'll actually cross out the event for you, like a nice big reminder that there was an event, you're not going to it. Don't freak out when you see this on your calendar. You can also change the look of your calendar, which is pretty cool. Modify the density, the color, lots of cool stuff like that. And they also made changes to how you can hide or see other calendars, which is pretty handy. So, good stuff. Let's jump in and practically look at it. And then at the very end, I'll show you this new feature that allows you to basically set up appointment blocks on your calendar that people can then sign up for, which is a feature we've been looking for a long time. A very specialized feature, but it might be very useful to some users. Alright, so if we go ahead and hit got it, we can start checking out our calendar. So you can see I'm in week view right now. If I were to go up here and select day, I would switch to just today. If I wanted to see my agenda, I could always go to schedule or hit the A key. and then it shows everything that's coming up in a nice orderly list, which is pretty cool. So D for day and W for week. Other views include seeing the entire year at a glance, which is, maybe kind of intimidating. I have most of my calendars turned off for this to keep it clean and organized, but if everything was turned on, this would just be like a bag of Skittles that just got poured all over a calendar. It'd be crazy. Some people like the 4-day view because it's a little bit more detailed than the weekly view, kind of keeps things in focus. So yeah, you can try out all these different views. It's cool. All right, so over here, same as before, you got a mini calendar, allows you to jump ahead or back in time as needed, jump to specific days on that calendar. They've tried to make it easier to add people's calendars to your available calendars. Looks like they may have added a global address book to it. So if I wanted to add Mary Ann Williams' calendar, I would just hit enter, and bam, it adds Mary Ann Williams' calendar, taking into account whatever privacy settings she may or may not have put for it. Here I can see that she's busy at 1:30 to 2:30. If I toggle it off, she goes away. All right, what else we got? Your calendars, along with, other calendars that you have added, including conference rooms, system calendars, calendars for carts, all that good stuff. And over here, here's an example of how much easier it is to access this stuff. So let's turn tasks off. There we go. And that makes it nice and big. For those of you wondering what Task Calendar is, it's something that incorporates with your Gmail. So in Gmail, you could mark certain emails as tasks and actually create calendar deadlines for them that would then also be tracked over here in your calendar. And they don't just have to be emails. You can actually manage several different to-do lists through the task tool, and any of them that have dates associated with them will show up over here in the task section of your calendar. It's pretty cool. All right, so let's look at making an event. So let's say Thursday afternoon, there's an important meeting. So all I do is just click in the general vicinity of where I want to do this. And by default, it's going to be an event. Next to that, you will see appointment slots. You don't need to worry about appointment slots yet. We'll talk about that at the very end. You're going to go ahead and give it an event. So I'm going to call it After Hours Meeting. And here with the drop down, you can choose any of your available calendars to set this up on. So I'll use my fake calendar for training. And from here, you can also say, oh, you know what? I clicked on the wrong day. Let me change the day. I need it to be a little bit longer than 1 hour, which is the default fast event creation. So I could go down here and say it's going to be a 2-hour meeting. There we go. And it's going to be the same day. So that works out fine. All right, then I could go ahead and hit save. And just like that, we've created a 2-hour meeting. Good stuff. Maybe I go back in and I realize, hey, the after hours meeting actually was only an hour long. So if I click on it, it says, hey, a single click, all details in one view. You can also RSVP, join a video call, or perform actions like duplicating and transferring ownership by double clicking on the event and making changes. That's pretty handy. So cool. I want to make this shorter. So an easy way to do that is if I mouse over the bottom of the calendar block, essentially, the arrow turns into 2 arrows, one going up and one going down. If I left click and drag, I can actually scale up and down the size of this meeting without ever having to go in and edit it. It's pretty cool. Whatever changes I make, of course, it will prompt me. Do I want to make anyone I've invited to this event aware of it? And that's really up to your discretion if you want to inform them or not. So you can delete an event very quickly and easily just by clicking on it once and clicking on the trash can. You can also copy events to any of your other calendars. This can be particularly useful if you want to make sure you're getting plenty of reminders, or you're in the habit of turning off calendars except for your main calendar. You may want to go into an event from a different calendar and copy it to your main calendar so that you don't forget about it. All right, so I went ahead and clicked that, and I can even change some of these settings when I add it to my own calendar. Now it exists in both calendars at the same time. Pretty cool. All right, so if I double click on it, it skips right over that nonsense, takes me right to the editing page. And it's from here that I can do all the good stuff, such as adding a description, adding links in the description, adding attachments in the description. So maybe you're having a meeting and the meeting involves going over some materials. You could provide those materials ahead of time by attaching them to your calendar event. It's pretty cool. You can create additional notifications. So if it's a very important event and you do not want to forget about it, you could go in here and add additional notifications beyond the default ones that you have built into your calendar. All right, so there's also on my interface, and it may not be on your interface yet, options for Zoom meetings and Google Hangout meetings. That's something that we would cover at a later time, but if you have questions about video conferencing and your calendar, please email dmt@smcps.org and we will try to answer those questions for you. You can also add addresses to your events. This is just like before, but everything, as you can see, is in a much neater format. Here, if I started to invite people to this event, I could go to find a time and it would actually cross-reference their calendars and availabilities against the slot that I'm trying to make the meeting at. So I could see, hey, Marianne's busy at this time slot and Dr. Marr is busy at this time slot. Maybe I should rethink when this time slot is going to happen. So that's a great feature, that find a time. All right, so once you're happy with those changes, you can go ahead and save them. You can also go in here, and if it's a repeating event, you can select when it repeats. It could be a daily event, it could be weekly on every Thursday, it could be the first Thursday of every month, or you could customize it. You can go completely crazy, tell it exactly how long you want these events to repeat, how many times you want it to repeat. There's a lot of control here. And these are features that were there before, but they are a lot more streamlined and easier to access. So if I do add additional people and try to save it, it will say, do you want to send invitations to these people? By default, you probably want to say yes. In this case, this is a fake event, so I'm not going to send them invitations because I don't want them to freak out. And real quick, I'm going to click once, and then I'm going to click the trash can to delete that event and all following events. And I will not send notifications to them because they didn't receive notifications in the first place. All right, you can see I still have the original one that I copied over to my calendar, so I will need to go in and delete that one as well. All right, if you're still with me, I'll talk about creating appointment slots. So let's say Wednesday I have to clear the entire day because I got to meet with people. I don't know. Let's pretend that I'm an educator or something and I have to meet with parents. And I want the parents to feel empowered. So I'm going to send out an email to my, parent list. And I'm going to say, hey guys, I'm available Wednesday the 3rd. I'm going to have 1 hour blocks of time. You are welcome to come in and speak with me about your child, etc., etc. So I cleared my schedule by moving this exciting event to Thursday. So now I have the whole day free. And I'm going to click once. I'm going to make sure I'm on the right calendar. And then I'm going to put, let's see, student conferences. Yes, good typing skills. All right. And then I'm going to hit appointment slots. All right. Now I can either, by the default, the slots will be 30-minute slots, but I could change those to be 60-minute, 45-minute, however long I want them to be. So 60 minutes to meet with a parent about a single kid is a lot. So let's go ahead and just use the 30-minute time slot. There we go. And let's see. I want to be available for the entire day. So we're going to go 7 a.m. until, let's say, 3:30 p.m. So it's a nice big chunk of time there. So I'm going to go ahead and hit save. And now I've blocked out this time that is available for appointments. So what does that exactly mean? So I'm going to double click on it, which takes me to the details for this event. And what we're looking for to share with our potential customers, parents, people that want to meet with us is this right here, where it has the Earth and it says this calendar's appointment page. So if I click on that link and go to that page, you will see that the day has been divided into these various slots. Pretty cool. So if I share this link with the people that are going to be scheduling time with me, and they follow the link, they will arrive at this page. And now parents or whoever's going to be signing up for a slot will just select an available slot. All right, and then it says here, what student conferences with Barrett Brooks? Cool. Where? So I was a little remiss. I should have added a bit more information there. Let's go back real quick. All right, at location, we'll say Red Conference Room at Oakley Street. And I could even go further, and I could just put the Oakley Street address, and then down here I could say, come to the Red Conference Room. If there's papers they need to bring, I could attach those papers now. All sorts of good stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and save those changes. There we go. And I'll refresh the link. Okay. And so somebody decides they want to meet with me at 9 o'clock. So they select the 9 o'clock slot, and there we go. It populates where, description, what, time, all that good stuff. All they have to do then is hit save, and they have booked an appointment with you. Pretty cool. And now you see that immediately that slot disappears. It is no longer available for other users to book. So there's no chance of double booking. If I go back to my calendar, I can see, hey, somebody has booked one of the available slots on the calendar. So if somebody else came in and they booked that slot, it would also disappear. And if I went over to the calendar, I could see, hey, somebody else signed up. And I'm receiving notifications that these slots are being taken on my phone because I have notifications set up, probably via email. And just, when I go in to check my calendar, I can see, hey, the slots are starting to fill up. So a very powerful tool that was added in the recent update. Not useful for everybody, but for certain things, like meeting with homeschool teachers and possibly even for interviews or things like that, it could be quite useful. So that concludes our tour of the new Google Calendar. If you have any additional questions, you can always email dmt@smcps.org and we'll try to answer them. Of course, you can always Google, and Google will be happy to provide you with lots and lots of information about this. And of course, you can always go in and make a fake calendar like I have done and just mess around. Practice making fake events, practice making fake appointment slots, just until you feel comfortable with it. All right. Have a good day, and hopefully you enjoy the new Google Calendar.